Chosen one, the signs have been everywhere. You've felt it in your soul. God has been preparing you for this moment. What if I told you this is the time to rise? Let's explore why. Have you ever felt like your life has been building towards something greater? Like every challenge, every triumph, and even every heartbreak was part of a plan far bigger than you could understand at the time? That's because it was. Chosen one, you were born for a reason. God has been shaping you, molding you, and preparing you to step into your divine role as a leader. This isn't just about you. It's about the people you're meant to guide, the light you're meant to shine, and the purpose you're meant to fulfill. And now, the moment you've been prepared for has arrived. This is your time to rise. In this video, we're going to uncover the truth about your divine purpose as a leader. We'll explore how God has been preparing you, how to recognize the call to lead, and what it means to inspire others on their journey. You'll also learn how to overcome the fear and self-doubt that tries to hold you back and take actionable steps to step fully into your role. If this resonates with you, like this video and comment 77 below to affirm that you're ready to embrace your calling. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why God chose you and how to rise into the leader you were always meant to be. Let's begin by understanding how God has been preparing you all along. God's preparation for you. Your journey has been anything but easy, and that's not by accident. Every trial, every tear, and every triumph has been part of a divine plan. God has been preparing you for something far greater than you could have imagined, and that preparation often takes place in the fire. It's in those moments of struggle, when you felt most broken, that God has been doing His most powerful work within you. This isn't punishment, it's refinement. Just as gold must go through the fire to become pure, you've been shaped and strengthened through the challenges you've faced. Each trial has been a tool in God's hands, chiseling away everything that doesn't align with your divine purpose and revealing the leader He created you to be. Think about the moments in your life that tested you the most. The betrayal that left you questioning who you could trust. The loss that left a hole in your heart. The obstacles that seemed insurmountable, making you wonder if you could keep going. None of these moments were random. They were orchestrated by a God who sees the bigger picture. A God who is more concerned with your growth than your comfort. Every tear you cried was watering the seeds of strength and wisdom within you. Every closed door was redirecting you to something better, something you couldn't see at the time but would later realize was exactly what you needed. Consider Moses. Before he became the leader who delivered the Israelites from Egypt, he spent 40 years in the wilderness. This wasn't a punishment, it was preparation. In that time of isolation and hardship, Moses learned humility, patience, and reliance on God. He was being shaped into a leader who could handle the weight of his calling. The wilderness wasn't just a physical place. It was a spiritual crucible where Moses was refined for the role he was destined to fulfill. And the same is true for you. Your wilderness seasons, the moments when you felt lost, abandoned, or stuck, were not wasted. They were the very places where God was shaping you, teaching you the lessons you would need to step into your purpose. One of the most profound ways God prepares His leaders is through lessons that often don't make sense in the moment. When you were betrayed, it wasn't just to hurt you, it was to teach you discernment, to help you recognize who is truly for you and who isn't. That lesson will serve you as a leader, allowing you to surround yourself with the right people and protect the vision God has given you. When you faced rejection, it wasn't to diminish you. It was to teach you that your worth doesn't come from others' opinions but from God alone. This lesson will give you the resilience to lead without seeking approval or validation from the world. When you endured heartbreak, it wasn't just to break you. It was to soften your heart, to give you the compassion needed to lead others who are hurting. Every painful moment was a piece of the puzzle, a part of the preparation for the role you were always meant to play. Leadership isn't just about having the right skills, it's about having the right heart. And that's what God has been cultivating in you all along. He's been shaping you into someone who can lead with wisdom, courage, and humility. Someone who doesn't just speak about faith but lives it. Someone who can inspire others, not because of what you've achieved, but because of what you've endured and overcome. This kind of leadership isn't taught in schools or developed in comfort. It's forged in the fire of real-life experiences. And while the process may have been painful, the result is something extraordinary. A leader who is not only capable, but also worthy of the responsibility that comes with the role. Even the quiet seasons, the times when it felt like nothing was happening, were part of your preparation. Maybe you felt overlooked or forgotten, wondering why God was keeping you in the background while others seemed to rise. But those seasons of waiting were anything but wasted. They were times of hidden growth, where God was working on you behind the scenes, preparing you for a stage you couldn't yet see. Think of David, who was anointed as king while still a shepherd boy. He didn't step into his role immediately. He spent years in the fields, tending sheep and fighting lions and bears. Those years weren't wasted. They were the training ground for his future battles. In the same way, your hidden seasons have been a time of preparation, building the character and resilience you'll need to lead. God's preparation often involves taking you through experiences that will later become your greatest testimony. The pain you've endured, the struggles you've faced, are not just scars. They are badges of honor, proof of what God has brought you through. These experiences give you credibility as a leader because they allow you to say, "I've been there, I understand, and if God brought me through, He can bring you through too." This is what makes your leadership authentic. It's not rooted in theory, but in real, lived experience. People are drawn to leaders who are genuine, who have walked the path themselves, and who can offer guidance from a place of understanding rather than judgment. The preparation process also deepens your faith. When you've walked through seasons where all you had was God, you learn to trust Him in a way that nothing else can teach you. This trust becomes the foundation of your leadership, allowing you to move forward with confidence even when the path ahead is unclear. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 reminds us to trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. This kind of trust is what enables you to lead with courage, knowing that even when you don't have all the answers, the one who called you does. As you reflect on your journey, you may begin to see how every moment, every challenge, and every lesson has been building toward this. God has been laying the foundation for your leadership one step at a time. He has been equipping you with the wisdom, strength, and compassion needed to fulfill your purpose. And now, as you stand at the threshold of this new chapter, you can look back and see that nothing was wasted. Every tear, every trial, and every triumph was part of the divine preparation that has brought you to this moment. If you felt this process of preparation in your life, if you can look back and see how God has been shaping you, comment "prepared" below. This acknowledgement is a declaration that you recognize the work God has been doing in your life and that you're ready to step into the role He has been preparing you for. But how do you know that you're being called to lead? Let's explore that in the next section, where we'll uncover the signs of your divine calling. Stay with me because your journey is just beginning, and the best is yet to come. Recognizing the call to lead is not always a clear or straightforward process. It often begins quietly, like a whisper in your spirit, a sense that you are being drawn towards something greater, something beyond yourself. This stirring isn't about ambition or ego. It's a divine nudge, a pull that keeps returning no matter how much you try to ignore it. It's that feeling deep in your soul that you were meant for more, that your life carries a purpose larger than anything you've experienced so far. It's the quiet realization that you've been placed here, in this time, for a reason that only God fully understands. This call may reveal itself in unexpected ways. You might notice that people are drawn to you for guidance, even when you don't feel particularly qualified to give it. Friends, family members, or even strangers may come to you seeking advice, comfort, or clarity. They see something in you, a calm strength, a perspective grounded in wisdom, that they can't quite explain but instinctively trust. These moments are not coincidences. They are signs that God is beginning to use you, even before you fully realize what's happening. They are glimpses of the leader you are becoming, reminders that your light is already shining, even in ways you might not yet understand. But the call to lead isn't always comfortable. In fact, it often brings with it a deep sense of inadequacy. You might hear that voice in your head saying, "Why me? I'm not ready. I'm not strong enough, wise enough, or good enough to lead." These doubts are natural, but they are also the reason why God chose you. Leadership in God's kingdom isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing. It's about trusting Him to fill in the gaps where you feel you fall short. In Judges 6, we see this dynamic in the story of Gideon. When God called Gideon to lead Israel against their oppressors, Gideon was filled with doubt. He saw himself as the least qualified person for the job. Yet God reassured him, saying, "Surely I will be with thee." Judges 6 verse 16. That same reassurance is for you. God isn't asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to trust Him. One of the most powerful signs that you're being called to lead is the discomfort you feel with staying where you are. You might notice that the things that used to satisfy you no longer bring the same sense of fulfillment. The routines, relationships, or environments that once felt comfortable may now feel stifling, as if they no longer align with who you are becoming. This discomfort isn't a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that you're growing. It's a sign that God is calling you to step out of your comfort zone and into the unknown, where your purpose awaits. Another sign is the repeated confirmation of your gifts. Perhaps you've always had a way with words, a natural ability to inspire or encourage others. Or maybe you're the person who can walk into a chaotic situation and bring order and peace. These gifts aren't random. They are tools God has given you for your leadership journey. The more you lean into them, the clearer your calling will become. Romans 12 verse 6 reminds us that, having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, let us use them. Your gifts are a clue to your purpose, and the more you use them, the more they will grow. The call to lead often comes with resistance, both internal and external. Internally, you may wrestle with fear, doubt, and a sense of unworthiness. Externally, you may face opposition from people who don't understand your journey or who feel threatened by your growth. This resistance is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's a sign that you're stepping into your purpose. When Nehemiah felt called to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, he faced fierce opposition from those who wanted to see him fail. But Nehemiah didn't let their threats deter him. Instead, he prayed for strength and stayed focused on his mission. Like Nehemiah, you will need to stand firm in your calling, even when it feels like the odds are stacked against you. One of the most challenging aspects of recognizing the call to lead is the realization that it will require change. Leadership demands growth, and growth often means letting go of old habits, mindsets, or relationships that no longer serve your purpose. This can be painful, but it's also necessary. Just as a tree must shed its leaves to make room for new growth, you must be willing to release what is holding you back in order to step into what God has for you. This process may feel like loss, but it's actually preparation. It's God making room for the new things He wants to bring into your life. Recognizing the call to lead also means being willing to embrace the unknown. You won't always have a clear picture of where God is leading you, and that's okay. Faith isn't about having all the answers, it's about trusting the one who does. Abraham didn't know where he was going when God called him to leave his home and journey to an unknown land, but he trusted God's promise and obeyed. That same trust is required of you. When you say yes to the call, you're not just stepping into leadership, you're stepping into a partnership with God, one where He guides your steps and equips you for every challenge. As you begin to recognize the call to lead, you may feel a mix of excitement and fear. This is normal. Leadership is a sacred responsibility, and it's natural to feel the weight of it. But remember, you are not walking this path alone. God is with you, every step of the way, providing the strength, wisdom, and courage you need. Psalm 32 verse 8 offers this beautiful promise. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye. Trust that God will guide you, even when the path ahead seems unclear. If you're beginning to recognize this call in your life, if you feel the stirring in your spirit, the pull towards something greater, comment called below. This is your declaration that you are ready to step into the role God has prepared for you, even if you don't have all the answers yet. Embracing the call to lead is the first step on a journey that will not only transform your life, but also the lives of those you are meant to guide. But what does it mean to lead with divine purpose? Let's explore that in the next section, where we'll uncover how to lead in alignment with God's plan. Stay with me because this is where your leadership truly begins to take shape. We've explored how God has been preparing you and how to recognize the call to lead. But what does it mean to lead with divine purpose? How do you inspire others and guide them on their journeys while staying true to your own? Stay with me, because this is where your role as a leader truly begins to take shape. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video, and click the super thanks button to support this message. Leading with divine purpose means stepping into your role with a heart committed to service, guided by humility, and driven by a desire to uplift others. It's not about power or control. It's about becoming a vessel through which God's love, wisdom, and truth flow to those who need it. This kind of leadership challenges the world's idea of authority, flipping it on its head. Instead of seeking to dominate, you are called to elevate. Instead of demanding loyalty, you inspire trust. This is the kind of leadership Jesus demonstrated throughout his ministry. In Matthew 20 verses 26 to 28, he said, "Whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister." In essence, true greatness is found not in being served, but in serving others. To lead with divine purpose is to recognize that your leadership isn't about you. It's about those you are called to guide. Your role is to create a space where others can discover their own light, their own purpose, and their own connection to God. Think of yourself as a bridge, connecting others to the truth, healing, and hope that they've been searching for. This isn't always an easy task. People often carry doubts, fears, and wounds that make it difficult for them to step into their own potential. Your job isn't to fix them, but to walk alongside them, reminding them of who they are and what they're capable of. One of the most powerful ways to inspire others is by living authentically. When your actions align with your words, you become a living example of what it means to walk in faith, courage, and integrity. Your authenticity shows others that it's possible to live a life rooted in purpose, even in the face of challenges. It's not about pretending to have it all together. It's about being real, honest, and vulnerable. When you share your struggles and how God has brought you through them, you give others permission to face their own challenges with hope and determination. This is what Jesus did throughout his ministry. He didn't just preach about love, forgiveness, and faith. He embodied these values in everything he did. Whether he was healing the sick, dining with sinners, or washing his disciples' feet, Jesus led by example. He didn't demand that others follow him. He inspired them to do so. People were drawn to him not because of his title, but because of his character. As a leader with divine purpose, you are called to do the same. Your character, your kindness, integrity, and faith will speak louder than any words ever could. Leading with divine purpose also requires patience. Not everyone will be ready to embrace the truth you carry, and that's okay. Some will resist, others will misunderstand, and a few may even oppose you. But remember, your job isn't to force anyone to change. It's to plant seeds. As Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 3 verse 6, "I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase." Your role is to faithfully sow seeds of hope, encouragement, and truth, trusting that God will bring the growth in his time. This requires humility, as you may not always see the fruits of your labor immediately. But divine leadership isn't about immediate results. It's about long-term impact. Vulnerability is another key component of leading with divine purpose. It can be tempting to put on a facade of strength, to act as if you have all the answers, but true leadership comes from a place of authenticity. People don't need perfect leaders, they need real ones. They need to see that it's possible to struggle and still move forward, to face doubts and still choose faith, to stumble and still rise. Your willingness to share your own journey, with all its ups and downs, will inspire others to keep going on their own path. Leading with divine purpose also means embracing the challenges that come with leadership. There will be moments when the weight of responsibility feels heavy, when you're tempted to question whether you're truly equipped for the role. In these moments, remember that God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Moses doubted his ability to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, saying, "Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh?" Exodus 3 verse 11. Yet God reassured him, saying, "Certainly I will be with thee." That same promise applies to you. You don't have to have all the answers or feel completely ready. God's strength is made perfect in your weakness, and His presence will guide you every step of the way. One of the most profound aspects of leading with divine purpose is the ripple effect it creates. When you step into your role as a leader, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage gives them permission to be courageous. Your faith strengthens their faith. Your willingness to shine your light encourages them to find their own. This ripple effect is how change happens, not through force or coercion, but through inspiration. When you lead with love, humility, and authenticity, you become a catalyst for transformation, not just in your own life, but in the lives of those around you. But leading with divine purpose isn't without its challenges. One of the greatest obstacles is the fear of failure. You might wonder, what if I get it wrong? What if I make a mistake? These fears are natural, but they are not from God. In 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, Paul reminds us, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." Fear is a distraction meant to keep you from stepping into your purpose. The truth is, you will make mistakes, but mistakes are not failures. They are opportunities to learn, grow, and rely more deeply on God's guidance. Another challenge is the temptation to compare yourself to others. You might look at other leaders and think, "I'm not as talented, confident, or successful as they are." But divine leadership isn't about comparison. It's about authenticity. Your purpose is unique to you. No one else has your story, your gifts, or your perspective. God has equipped you with everything you need to fulfill your specific calling. Comparison is a distraction that keeps you from embracing the fullness of who you are. As you step into your role as a leader, remember that your purpose is not just about achieving goals or fulfilling tasks. It's about making an impact. It's about being a light in the darkness, a source of hope and encouragement for those who are still searching for their way. It's about serving with humility, leading with love, and trusting that God will use your efforts to accomplish His plans. If you're ready to lead with divine purpose, comment purpose below. This is your declaration that you are stepping into the role God has prepared for you, not with fear or hesitation, but with faith and confidence. And as you embrace this calling, remember that you are not walking this path alone. God is with you, guiding your steps, strengthening your spirit, and equipping you for every challenge. Now, let's talk about the fear and self-doubt that often come with leadership and how to overcome them. Stay with me because this next section will give you the tools you need to rise above. Overcoming fear and self-doubt. Fear and self-doubt are two of the most insidious barriers to stepping into your divine purpose as a leader. They creep in quietly, whispering lies that undermine your confidence and distort your sense of self. You're not good enough, they say. You're not ready. What if you fail? What if you let everyone down? These doubts can feel overwhelming, like a heavy weight pressing on your chest, holding you back from stepping into the role you know deep down you were created to fulfill. But here's the truth. These fears are not from God. They are distractions, tools of the enemy meant to keep you from rising into your full potential. Fear is not your portion. In 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, Paul reminds us, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." This is your promise. Fear does not belong to you. Power does. Love does. A sound mind does. The first step to overcoming fear and self-doubt is recognizing them for what they are. Fear often masquerades as caution or practicality, convincing you to play it safe or wait for a better time. But playing it safe is rarely the path God calls His leaders to take. Just look at the Bible's greatest leaders. Many of them wrestled with doubt and insecurity, yet they stepped forward in faith anyway. Consider Moses, who doubted his ability to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. "Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh?" he asked in Exodus 3 verse 11. Moses didn't believe he was qualified. He was keenly aware of his weaknesses, especially his difficulty with speaking. Yet God reassured him, "Certainly I will be with thee," and that assurance made all the difference. You might feel like Moses right now, aware of your shortcomings, unsure of your abilities, and questioning whether you're truly ready. But just as God was with Moses, He is with you. He doesn't ask for perfection. He asks for obedience. He doesn't call the equipped. He equips the called. Whatever you feel you're lacking, trust that God will provide it. If you feel weak, He will give you strength. If you feel unworthy, He will remind you of your worth. If you feel unsure, He will guide your steps. It's important to understand that fear doesn't go away on its own. It must be confronted. One of the enemy's greatest tactics is to plant seeds of fear and doubt in your mind, hoping you'll water them with your attention and let them grow. But you have the power to uproot those seeds before they take hold. This is where faith comes in. Faith isn't the absence of fear, it's the choice to move forward in spite of it. It's choosing to trust God's promises over the lies of the enemy. When fear says, "You can't do this," faith says, "I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me." Philippians 4 verse 13. When doubt says, "You're not enough," faith says, "I am fearfully and wonderfully made." Psalm 139 verse 14. Another way to combat fear is to remember who you are and whose you are. Fear thrives in uncertainty, so the more you ground yourself in your identity as a child of God, the less room fear has to take root. You are not just anyone, you are chosen. You are called. You are equipped by the Creator of the universe to fulfill a purpose that only you can fulfill. Fear might try to convince you otherwise, but it cannot change the truth of who you are. When those doubts creep in, remind yourself of God's promises. Speak them out loud if you have to. There is power in declaring the truth over your life, even when you don't feel it yet. If fear and self-doubt have been holding you back, let this be your moment to break free. Comment "fearless" below as a declaration that you are choosing faith over fear, courage over doubt, and purpose over hesitation. This is your time to rise, not because you're perfect, but because you're willing. And as you step forward, remember that you are not leading alone. God is with you every step of the way, providing the strength, wisdom, and grace you need to fulfill your calling. Finally, let's talk about what it means to step fully into your role as a leader. Overcoming fear is just the beginning. What comes next is stepping boldly into your purpose, embracing the full weight of your calling, and leading with confidence and clarity. Stay with me, because this final step will equip you to fulfill your divine mission in ways that will leave a lasting impact. Let's explore it together. We've talked about preparation, the call to lead, leading with purpose, and overcoming fear. But how do you take that final step into your role as a leader? How do you embrace everything God has called you to be? Let's find out. Stepping fully into your role as a leader is a profound act of faith. It's the moment when you stop waiting for the perfect conditions. The moment when you silence the doubts in your mind and say, "Yes, Lord, I'm ready." This act of surrender is not about having all the answers or feeling completely prepared. It's about trusting that God's plan is far greater than your fears and believing that He has equipped you with everything you need to succeed. This is the moment when you embrace your identity as a chosen one, recognizing that your journey, your gifts, and your purpose have all led to this point. This is your time to rise. Saying yes to your calling requires courage. It's easy to stay in the background, to blend in, and to play it safe. But you weren't created to stay in the shadows. You were created to shine, to lead, and to make a difference in the lives of others. Matthew 5 verses 14 to 16 reminds us, "Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle, and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick. And it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Your light was not given to you to be hidden. It was given to you to illuminate, to guide, and to inspire." But stepping into this kind of visibility can feel intimidating. You may worry about the weight of responsibility or about how others will perceive you. Yet, leadership is not about being perfect, it's about being faithful. As you step fully into your role, it's important to remember that leadership is not about self-promotion. It's about service. True leadership is rooted in humility, in the willingness to put others' needs above your own, and to seek God's guidance in every decision. This kind of leadership reflects the example of Jesus, who, despite being the Son of God, humbled himself to serve others. In John 13, Jesus washes his disciples' feet, a task typically reserved for the lowest servant. This act wasn't just a lesson in humility, It was a demonstration of what true leadership looks like. As a leader, you are called to serve with the same selflessness and love, recognizing that your position is not about elevating yourself but about lifting others. Chosen one, God has been preparing you for this moment. Your time is now. Everything in your life has been leading to this point, and you are ready to step into your divine role as a leader. Trust in God's plan, embrace your calling, and let your light shine for all to see. If this message resonates with you, subscribe, share this video, and like it. And don't forget to comment, "I am chosen," below to declare your readiness. Your journey is just beginning, and the world is waiting for you to rise.